Hey guys, it's Angie. It's good to have you today. It's awesome that you stepped onto your mat and are taking the time to find your grounding. I think it's important to acknowledge that things are a little crazy right now, and I'm also feeling fluctuations in levels of uncertainty and unease, but I think that's even more reason why we really need to lean into community and retain connections. That's the reason why I'm doing this video, this series of videos, until we can get back to normal again. And I think it's important that we ask ourselves what we can do to help encourage kindness and calm and empathy right now. And by stepping onto your mat, that's a really, really awesome initiative, because when we find our grounding and we breathe deeply and we calm our hearts, we become more available to others. So while this can feel like a personal practice, it's really inherently a very social activity. So this is the first time I've done a video, so bear with me. It's roughly 30 minutes long, and I hope that you enjoy it. Okay guys, so let's go ahead and get started by placing our left hand on our bellies, our right hand on our hearts, and either closing down our eyes or just slightly setting your gaze somewhere in front of your feet. And from here, let's start by taking some really nice deep belly inhales, filling up our bellies, our lungs, pausing at the top, and then parting our lips and letting it go. Let's do that twice more at your own pace. Inhaling on up. Full exhales, nice and slow. Just starting to bring your gaze inwards, letting go of all the stuff that came before. Staying committed to staying connected to our breath over the next 30 minutes or so. Remember, this is your practice. Rest when you need to rest. Take a knee. Do whatever you need to do. And make sure you get out of this whatever you need. When you're ready, gently blinking open our eyes. Inhaling our hands up to our nose. Exhale, doming our spine. Inhale, reach on up. Maybe we look up. Exhale, hands behind our backs, interlace fingers. Inhale, chest broad, hands lift on up. Exhale, hands back to our thighs. Let's do that one more time. So inhale on up. Exhale, dome. Inhale, reach. Exhale, hands behind our backs. Inhale, broad chest, lift up our hands. Exhale, hands back to our knees. And then just a little gentle side twist. So popping our right hand on the outside of our left knee, left hand behind our backs. On your inhale, find some length. And then exhale, start to twist on over, gently gazing beyond your left shoulder, really using that left knee as a lever to pull your right neck open a little bit more. And then gently coming back to the middle, swapping sides. Inhale, getting nice and long, and gently gazing over our right shoulder. Nice. And then coming back to center, We're going to pop our feet out a little bit further so our shins are parallel to the front of the mat. Find some length in our spine. On the inhale, reach on up. And on the exhale, diving forward, walking our fingers on out and gently dropping our heart towards the earth. On your inhales, finding some more length, coming to the tops of our fingers. And then exhale, seeing if we can work our heart a little bit closer to the mat. Nice. Walking our hands back on in. Let's just pop our feet out as wide as the mat. Taking a couple of windshield wipers to open up our lower spines. So just left to right, as fast or as slow as you'd like to go. Beautiful. And then settling down into our reverse tabletop. So pressing into the earth through our hands, pressing through our feet, strong bellies rising on up, pelvis reaching high. Eye gaze either between our knees. Maybe it's okay for your neck to drop on back. Wherever you are, staying connected to our breath. And then gently lowering our hips down near our hands, extending our feet on out, pressing into the earth, lifting our bums off just a centimeter or two, and then extending our heart towards our toes. And we should be getting a nice stretch up the back of those legs. Beautiful, releasing back down. Let's do that once more. Strong legs rising on up. And then exhaling, coming back down. Legs extend, reaching our heart forward and settling back down. Beautiful. Tucking our toes and just rolling over our ankles, settling on back into our tabletop position. Remember in this pose, keeping our shoulders directly over our wrists, hips over knees. Taking a couple cat-cows and just go at your own pace here, guys, whatever you need. So on your inhales, we drop our bellies, lift our tailbones, shine our heart forward. And on the exhale, really press into the earth, spread those 10 fingers, dome the upper spine, and then beautiful inhale, looking forward again. And again, just go at your own pace here. We'll do this 4 or 5 times, and if you'd like a little bit more creativity, go ahead and drop your hips back towards your heels. Maybe circles feels good. If you went one way, make sure you go the other way. Nice. And then from here, we're gonna tuck our back toes with strength, pressing into the earth through our hands and just lifting our knees up off the mat a centimeter or two. And then when you're ready, pressing on up into our downward facing dog. So remember, feet as wide as our hips, hands as wide as our shoulders, knees nice and bent. We want to think about a nice straight line from the tips of our fingers up to the top of our tails. Maybe take a little bit of movement here if that feels okay. Bending one knee, bending the other. Might feel good to come to the top of your toes, get a nice pike position, and releasing those heels back down. Nice. And then from here, we're going to gently and slowly just walk on up to the front of the mat and come into our wide yogi squat. So settling on down, popping our elbows on the inside of our knees, hands together at heart center. And it really doesn't matter if your heels touch here or not. I encourage you to consider lifting your bum up a little bit higher than you would prefer. It just ensures that we're nice and activated. And then reaching our right hand out to the side, inhaling left hand high, looking up towards the left hand. Exhale, swapping hands, inhaling right hand high. Exhale, back down. And then toe heel our feet back together about hip width distance apart and come into our ragdoll. So gripping opposite elbows with opposite hands, chest as close to our thighs as possible, so nice bend in those knees. Maybe a little rock side to side feels good. Shaking our head yes and no. Really thinking about transferring the weight towards those toes. And then releasing our hands, interlacing behind our back. Inhaling, finding a little bit of length in that spine. And then exhaling, forward folding, hands reach up and over. And we breathe. Might feel nice to bend our left knee and just gaze up under our right shoulder. If you did that on one side, go ahead and do it on the other. Nice. Back to center, hands to earth. Very slowly, nice and gently rolling on up, one vertebra at a time. When you get to the top, shoulders come up to our ears, rolling down our spines. And then inhaling, hands reach on up. Exhale, forward fold, leading with the heart, knees nice and bent. Inhaling, halfway lifting. Exhale, hands to earth, stepping on back into our high plank, so shoulders directly over wrists, really strong legs here. Heels pressing back towards the back wall. And then if it's hurting your lower back, just come on down to your knees. Wherever you are, let's lower, keeping those elbows in nice and tight for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Left cheek to the mat. Hands along our sides, palms up. Just finding our breath, reconnecting. And when you're ready, popping our hands alongside our chest, firming the tops of our feet into the mat, activating those legs, knees come up off of the mat, inhaling on up into our baby cobra. And then exhaling back down. Inhaling on up. And back down. Let's tuck those back toes. Pressing on up. Tabletop into downward facing dog. Couple of nice deep breaths here. Again, paddling out your feet if that feels good. Maybe stillness is what you prefer today. Nice. And then let's go ahead and lift that right leg high into the air, keeping our hips squared towards the earth, toes towards our shin. Coming to the top of our left toes. Inhaling right knee to right elbow. And then exhale, pressing on back out. Inhaling into our chest, pressing back out. Inhaling over to our left elbow, and this time we're gonna shoot our foot out to the side and transfer all of our weight into that right hand, coming in to our monkey pose, either hanging out here with our right foot on the earth, or lifting that right leg up off the earth. And then gently transferring back, left hand connects, right foot meets left foot, coming into our plank pose. And then elevating that right foot up off of the earth, we're gonna bend the knee and just gently drop it behind us. Left foot remains extended. And we inhale our hips high, right hand up and over our head, heart shining towards the ceiling, coming into wild thing. And then very gently starting to come out of that pose, back into our plank, lowering down onto our knees. Inhale, cobra. Exhale down. And then pressing on back up, let's just settle down into our child's pose. So knees either as wide as the mat or together, whatever feels best for you. Walking our hands out in front, as wide as our shoulders. On your inhale, looking forward, coming to the tippy tops of those fingers, really gripping the mat, pulling it back towards you, and then exhaling back down. Asking ourselves what the quality of our breath is right now. When you're ready, we'll press on back up. Tucking those toes, downward facing dog. Now let's inhale that left leg on up. Bringing left knee into left elbow and pressing it back on up. So inhaling on in to chest and then exhaling back. Inhale, right elbow. And from here, shoot that left leg out to the side. And inhale that right arm on up to the sky. Either staying here or playing around with lifting that left leg off. And then cycling back down, coming back into our high plank pose. Left leg elevates, knee bends, dropping it right behind us. Right leg extends out straight. Left arm up and over, hips to sky. Wild thing. And then left hand transitions down to the earth. And we just come forward into our high plank, coming down into our knees, down to the earth. Inhaling, baby cobra. Exhale back down. Tucking those toes, pressing on back up, coming into our downward facing dog. From here, we're gonna bend our knees, come to the tops of our toes, looking between our hands, stepping forward. And with strength, we're gonna rise on up. And as we do, our right knee is gonna come up with us into our stork pose. Finding some length here, really pressing through that left leg. And then transferring into our tree pose. So popping our right foot either on the inside of our left thigh, maybe on the inside of our left calf, or you can just have it as a little kickstand here on the ground. Wherever you are, just make sure that it's not right on your knee. So finding our tree pose, maybe our hands are at our heart center, maybe they're on our hips. Just go wherever feels good for you. Finding a focal point somewhere in front of you to fix our gaze, to help with our balance. Breathing here. And maybe we play around with growing our branches on up towards the sky. And if you want a real challenge, maybe closing down your eyes. And whenever you're ready, we'll meet with our right foot next to our left. Inhaling on up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lifting, nice straight back. Exhale, hands back down to the earth. Just stepping back into our downward facing dog. When you're ready, we'll inhale, tops of toes, bending knees, looking forward, stepping gently to the front of the mat. Now this time grounding into that right foot and rising on up, bringing the left knee on up with us. Stork pose. And then let's find tree pose on this side. So popping that left foot wherever feels good for you. Maybe hands to heart center. Beautiful. Locking our gaze somewhere that's not moving on us. Really nice, guys. And maybe we grow our branches on this side, reaching on up. And then maybe we close down our eyes and we meet at the top of the mat, both feet together, hands along our sides, thumbs externally rotated, thinking about our shoulders away from our ears, nice and grounded, tailbones are tucked. Let's inhale our hands on up. Exhaling, forward folding. Inhaling, halfway lifting. Exhaling, hands to mat. Stepping on back. And just taking a couple of breaths in our downward facing dog. Maybe paddling out the feet if that feels okay. Beautiful. And then from here, we're just gonna cross our feet and have a little seat coming in to our boat pose. So feet hip width distance, hands either along our sides. Modifications here. So either hanging out like this with our sternum is nice and broad, maybe one foot, maybe 2 feet come off. Maybe our hands come off as well. You can always grip behind your thighs, kind of steady yourself, find a good place. And then if it feels okay, you can release those hands. Beautiful. And maybe we lower on down for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Nice, guys. Inhaling our hands high above our head, toes towards the side wall. Full exhale, letting it all go. And bringing our knees on up to our chest, either together or apart. And just have a little rock side to side, maybe circles feels good. Just releasing our lower backs. And then when you're ready, we're gonna grip behind our knees and we're gonna rock and roll about 4 or 5 times and come into a seated pose. And it doesn't matter if you use your hands to get there, but if you'd like to play around with not using your hands, that might be kind of fun. So here we go. Rocking and rolling. Finding some momentum. And when you're ready, coming on up into our seated chair pose. Now just remember, we should be able to see our toes over the tops of those knees. Tailbone is tucked down and under. Broad shoulders away from our ears. Hands either up towards the sky, out in front of us, at our heart center. And we breathe. Nice. Not here for long. Let's pop those hands out in front of us, if that's okay. Coming to the tops of our toes and starting to lower for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Well done, guys. We're almost there. Let's just come into our little butterfly pose. So feet together, knees gently draping out to the side. Elbows firmly pressed into those knees, grounding our sit bones, reaching our crowns of our heads high. And then exhale, start to drop your heart towards your toes, maintaining a nice straight spine. Pressing those elbows into the knees and the knees back into the elbows. Reconnecting with our breath. Here, just extending our feet out in front of us, having a little bit of a shakeout. And then we're going to come into wide-legged forward fold. So coming to the width of your mat, just scooching your bum as forward as possible, toes on both feet towards your shins. Inhaling nice and tall in that spine, and exhale, gently starting to work your heart forward. Some of you guys might be more flexible and you might be able to walk your hands further forward. Others might just enjoy this nice forward tilt of the pelvis. Wherever you are, breathing, staying connected. Really nice. One more nice deep inhale. Full exhale. And swing your legs around to the front of the mat. And we're just gonna roll on down to our backs. Reaching our hands high above our head, feet as wide as our mats, knees bent, gripping opposite elbows with opposite hands, and allowing our legs to drop to the left, and then gently to the right. Let's do that twice more. So left and right. Coming back to the middle. We're going to come into our modified bridge pose. So feet as wide as our hips, but close to our bums. We should be able to tickle our heels with our fingertips. With strength, pressing through our feet. Inhale, rising on up. Eye gaze is straight up. We don't want to move our neck in this position. And then exhale, nice and slow, one vertebra at a time back down. Let's do that twice more, either doing it the same way or option on your inhale to raise your hands up and over your head and exhale back down. Inhaling on up and back down. Happy baby. So either gripping behind your knees, or if you can reach the outsides of your feet, just have a little rock to side if that feels good. Maybe stillness is best. Might feel nice to drop one heel towards your groin and press the other leg out as far as it will go. If you did that on one side, go ahead and do it on the other. And then coming back to center. Nice, guys. From here, dropping that right leg to the mat. Left leg inhales high, heel towards the ceiling. And then on the exhale, we see if we can draw that knee a little bit closer to our nose. So 2 more nice deep breaths. Toes on that right foot are also flexed towards our shin. Ready, we'll swap our legs on out, inhaling that right heel high. Exhale, knee towards nose. 2 more deep breaths. What are the toes on the left foot doing? Are they nice and flexed? Now keeping that right knee up into our chest, giving it a little hug, let's come into a supine twist. So gently guiding it over to the left side, right arm extends out, shoulder, forearm flat on the earth. On the inhale, we find some length in our spine. And on the exhale, we press our left hand into our knee, our right knee, and see if we can start to turn our heads a little bit over to the right. Couple of deep breaths here. And coming back to center, squeezing that right knee in one more time. Swapping out our legs, giving our left knee a squeeze, and gently guiding over towards the right side. Left arm extends out, flat on the earth. Inhale, finding some length. And exhale, maybe our gaze starts to look over towards our left hand. One more deep breath here. Full exhale. Releasing, coming back to the middle, bringing both of our knees up into our chest, lifting our shoulders up off of the earth, squeezing everything in. Big, big, big hug. And then full release on out, coming into Savasana, our final resting pose. Getting really comfortable here, taking up space, allowing our feet to flop open like a book. Maybe our palms are up along our sides. Maybe our hands are on our bellies. If you need some more shoulder opening, popping our hands above our head and grabbing opposite elbows with opposite hands might feel good. Just closing down the eyes and starting to focus on all the beautiful energy we've released. All of those happy oxygenated cells running around our bodies. Just keep breathing in this pose for a couple of minutes. And I'm going to read a really beautiful quote to you that really resonated with me. It was written by Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and phenomenal individual. So while you're in your Shavasana, just some words to consider. Viktor says, "We who lived in concentration camps can remember the men who walked through the huts comforting others, giving away their last piece of bread. They may have been few in number, but they offer sufficient proof that everything can be taken from a man, but one thing, the last of the human freedoms. To choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances to choose one's own way. So just enjoying your last couple of breaths in your Savasana. Maybe starting to find some movement in those fingers and toes. And when you're ready, reaching your hands above your head, reaching your toes towards the front of the room. Nice arch in that lower spine. And then rolling onto one side, using your arm as a little pillow. Just taking one last deep grounding breath. And then when you're ready, with our eyes still closed, just pressing on up, coming into a nice comfortable seated position. Placing your hands maybe on your knees, perhaps cupped in your lap, at your heart center. And we'll seal this practice by taking one deep, full belly breath in all together. Inhaling on up, pausing at the top, parting our lips and letting it go. Such a pleasure practicing with you guys. Namaste. Hey guys, congratulations on getting through practice. I wanted to do something fun for next week, if you're up for it. As you know, I'm big into gratitude. It's really the antidote to everything stressful. So I thought maybe you guys might be interested in tabling some things that you're grateful for. Just kick me an email. Doesn't have to be anything deep and meaningful. It can be lighthearted, 1, 2, 3, whatever you want to offer up. And then I'll read them during our next session, because I truly believe that we lift ourselves by lifting one another. So thank you again. Enjoy the rest of your week.